Morning all. Look at me up here working on a Sunday, Sunday morning. I've had the look, I must say. I've had the look when I said I'm just popping up to do a bit of filming, so I may get this out today or it may be tomorrow morning, but we're going to get the filming done. I think I might be required on family duties since it's a Sunday, I reckon. Back at Wraysbury, part 2 of Wraysbury. Lots of the messages that have come in after part 1 have asked similar questions. Have I heard from since then? Have I heard from, do I know what Shaky Dell's up to? Have I heard from Tench Bloke? Quite a few people, have I heard from Phil Thompson? And the answer to that one, the last one, is no. The last we, as in Phil's friends, heard, he moved to Thailand. He did come back for a visit once. I bumped into him. We arranged to meet at a Carp show at the bar, obviously. Had a few beers. Then he went back to Thailand. He got a house out there. And I haven't heard from him, and nor's anyone else, for ages. So we're assuming he's still out there. Last we heard, he built a sort of a bar-y shop thing on the side of his house in Thailand for the local expats. And I did get one snippet of information about, I don't know, a few months back now, a couple of months back, that he'd bought an elephant, which wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, actually, to be honest. Nothing would surprise me about Phil. Who knows? Maybe. Are you out there, Phil? Are you actually watching these? If so, go on my website, links below, contact details, email, send me an email. Just be nice to know you're still alive and what the elephant's called. So back on the lake, what are we, a couple of weeks in, Phil's had Mary and he's had Mary's mate, and true to Pete's word, the lake got very quiet very quick, to be honest, especially midweek. Obviously me, Phil, Tench Bloke, Shaky Dell was about, there were a few about in the week, and then there was another sort of crew of weekenders, if you like. Steve Alcott was there most weekends. Colin Martins to start with. We didn't see much of him, but he was there at the beginning. Phil and Al from up north. Phil was a older-ish bloke, and a younger lad, Al, who will both, their names will change throughout this little series, if you like. Everyone ends up with a nickname, but at this time they were still Phil and Al. Wembley Bob. I don't know if any of you know Wembley Bob or know of Wembley Bob. He was a proper character, he was. Never, ever, it became known never to accept a cup of coffee off a Wembley. He'd always offer you one as soon as you walked into his swim. I remember going and he's swimming the Dredger Bay once, and he's got this little sort of four-sided silver beaten coffee pot, and it used to just sit on his cooker and just bubble away all the time. But he used lake water and just kept topping it up with coffee. It was jet black treacle made of Wraysbury lake water and coffee. It was absolutely disgusting. One sip was all you needed to know. Never, ever to accept a cup of coffee off of him. And he used to have a habit as well in the mornings of getting up, taking his fishing gear off, putting on some sort of lycra running gear and running the whole circuit of Wraysbury back to his, the Wraysbury Lake, which is, like I said, it's a 3-hour walk. It's a fair way round. Get back to his swim, put his fishing gear back on, put the coffee pot back on, and carry on. It was bizarre, but lots of people at Wraysbury were bizarre, to be honest. He also had a tooth that he'd made himself out of tin and painted white. So it gives you a rough idea of what we're dealing with here. I wonder what's happened to him as well. So yeah, we'd got in a little routine. We knew roughly who was going to be there. Not many people. There were other people as well. Obviously, the public could use Wraysbury, and we'd meet certain characters, on a regular basis. The shootist was the best of these. The shootist lived in the Douglas Lane, and his house backed straight onto the lake into Bryant's Bay. Now, the shootist could be seen most days around the lake. Him and a couple of his mates, completely camoed up, armed, shooting stuff. Basically, they used to go out, canoe out to the islands, camp out on the islands and shoot whatever, anything that they could bring down with these air rifles. They'd shoot, and he was a bit of a character. His mate we used to call the Walker. was a little bit more, how can I put it, extreme. I think he honestly thought he was in Vietnam most of the time, and he got the nickname the Whacker because when a helicopter came over, he used to dive for cover and say, "Here comes a Whacker." Apparently that's what they called him in Vietnam, because they go Whacker, 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 Whacker. I think he was a bit delusional, to be honest. They kept us amused anyway. So around this sort of time, let's say 2, 3, 4 weeks in, the first bit, sort of June, end of June, start of July, the fish had started using the railway bank a lot on both halves of the lake. So the North Lake half of the railway bank is Sunny Meads, the lawns, and the bus stop by the Cigar Island, which is where Philip caught Mary's mate. And the South Lake part, so you go through the Finger Bays, but up to the same end, was a swim we ended up calling the Doctors and the Party Point. So most days you could see something, you could find some fish up this sort of railway section of the lake, just generally cruising about, and I spent loads of time up there trying to stalk them, just setting up, trying to fish for them, floater fishing for them. I had one absolutely disastrous day, all of my own making, where I'd seen a fish round in the Doctors. I'd seen a fish tenting through the weed, really, really hot day, and I'd seen this back coming up, going back down behind this weed bed, and then coming up and going back down. I thought, you bang on for a floater, this fish. So I got round there, got all set up, with my floater kit, started putting mixers out, and every time I put mixers out, anyway, only just a little handful, 3 or 4, every time I put bait near it, the back would just move, not far, and then boom, come up in another bed of weed. So I'd drift a few mixers out that way, and then the back would go down. And this went on for hours, like all day. I was sunburnt, I was sweating, I was parched. Eventually it came a little bit closer, just always avoiding wherever I put the bait. So I've shinned up this little tree where I thought I can get a good view of it now in the sort of clear water. So I've shinned up this little tree, looks over the top, and behind this weed bed I can clearly see the back. And as it's turned, it's a bream of about 8 pounds. I spent all day trying to get a bream to take a floater, but I was getting desperate for a bite by now. Phil had had a couple. There'd been a couple of other fish out, and like I said at the end of the last episode, I was really starting to wonder where my first bite was coming from. While I'm on the subject of the railway bank, the actual train line there is the Windsor. What would it do? Windsor to Twickenham sort of line, I suppose. It's only one each way. It's a proper rural thing. But where you've got the swims, I suppose you've got a little path, and then you've probably got 25 foot or something of like thick, undergrowth and a few trees separating you from the train, so the people on the train can see the lake and see you. Which isn't always such a good thing, especially one morning I was down in Sunnymead's Corner, about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I got struck down with the need. I needed to go to the bushes. Nowadays it's more of a bag and bucket job, but back then it was dig a hole and fill it in afterwards. So I've scraped my little hole, I'm in the bushes, it's nice and quiet, there's no one about. Got to that stage of no return, trousers around the ankle, hovering over the hole halfway through, and I heard a train coming. I thought, usually they clatter past, and this train sounded like it was going really slowly and getting slower. The lights were red, and it had come and it had just doof, 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 doof. And I thought, oh my God. And I've risked a little sneaky look, and it's full of commuters. And there's one right next to me, open mouth, just like that, staring out the train window. I'm like, oh no. So I just buried my face and just waited for the train to go away. I don't reckon that was a very good start to his morning, to be honest, seeing me caught in the act, if you like. There was another story, actually, again, that springs to mind. I will get onto the fishing eventually, but another story that springs to mind, which was only one swim up at the back of the bus stop. I'd walked round the lake. It was really, really hot afternoon, and I'd walked round the lake with all my gear from the Route Nightmare. Normally, which is in the Douglas Lane. Normally, I'd park over the Sunnymead side, but I hadn't. I'd sort of moved to here, fished there, moved to there. And by the time I got round to the bus stop, I was absolutely just soaked in sweat. And the mosquitoes at Wraysbury are legendary. They're bloody great big things, and they're savage. And I was just getting eaten alive by these mosquitoes. Anyway, in my little rucksack, I used to take a net curtain, just a normal white house net curtain. And when the mozzies got really bad, I'd sleep under it. So it's the middle of the afternoon, sweating, getting bitten. So I put the net curtain over my head and just draped it down. That didn't quite reach the floor and the mozzies could get underneath. So I'm sort of half crouched down like that with this mosquito net over my head, and I'm wandering up and down the bank deciding which swim I'm going to fish, and another train's gone past. And I just thought, what do they think when they look out the window, you know? Was there stories of a ghost on the Windsor line? Do they just think, they're probably waiting. It's probably the highlight of their day, maybe not the pooing, but just to see what these idiots on the lake are up to. Yeah, and I was usually prime idiot, I think, to be honest. So anyway, one day on one of these wanders round the lake, like I've said before, we had our little routine, if you like, you know, stopping at the shop for the tangle twisters, excuse me, or the off licence for a beer, or the pub, depends what time of day it was. I was on one of these walks. I remember me and Phil had decided to go opposite ways. I think we'd been round once already together and found nothing at all. So we thought, you know, if we go opposite ways, then we're getting twice the sort of eyes on the water. And there was a couple of other people around walking about looking as well. I know Tench bloke was down there. Tench bloke was starting to get a little bit interested in carp at this stage, which made it, you know, a little bit more awkward. There's someone else looking for the fish. Whereas before we just share the information. We'd tell him about tench and he'd tell us about carp. I think Shaky Dell was down, maybe Steve, I can't remember. There was a couple of anglers floating about. So me and Phil decided to go opposite ways round and have a look. And I'd wandered round and I'd gone round the Finger Bays. And as I came out the back of the Finger Bays, I'm going along the far side looking out into the North Lake. I got into this swim, it was down, I think it was Rocky Barge or the one next door, looking out over the middle of the North Lake. And a fish has come out, you know, and this is rare because the jump, we'd see them occasionally cruising, but jumping, you just didn't really see signs of showing fish. And a mirror's just come right up, bosh, gone over, and wow, that's it. And I thought about where I am, where my gear is, which is in the Douglas Lane car park, which is miles away, literally miles away. So I've set off, you know, me and Fat Sam, flat run all the way back out the Finger Bays, all the way around the railway lake, a long way. Got round into the Douglas Lane, and everybody's at the cars. There was all the people I've just mentioned, Phil, Shaky Dell, Tench bloke, one other that might have been Steve. And I've seen, as I've sort of got close, I've seen them all there, and I thought, I don't want to run in. I found one, because everyone's looking for fish. So I slowed down and tried to be all nonchalant, you know, like you do. Wandered in, said, I'm going to get my gear and go for a walk. But I wanted to tell Phil, because we were sharing everything. So started loading up. Phil's come over, and I said, meet me up near the back of the Finger Bays. I said, I've seen one. He said, all right, okay. I said, don't tell anyone. I said, okay. So I've got my gear and off, I've gone. Phil hung around for a couple of minutes, you know, make it look casual, if you like, and he's got his little bit of gear, and he's set off. By now, I'm over, you know, on the North Lake. I'm in the swim, and I'm casting. I'm not casting. I'm thrashing. It's as weedy as sin out there. Now, a lot of the other anglers, nearly all the other anglers, to be honest, use boats most of the time. They put their rigs out with boats. They do everything by boat, and I could understand why. I ended up doing the same myself. But at this stage, me and Phil were still in. We decided we were going to be mobile and we were going to fish from the bank. Why? I've no idea. So anyway, I'm there and I'm thrashing and thrashing and thrashing. And with every cast, I thought, I'm just ruining this, you know. There were fish here, but I've cast 20, 30, 40 times. And all I was getting was solid weed, solid weed, solid weed. I don't know, maybe an hour's gone past, and I'm thinking, where is Phil? You know, I'm not exactly where I said I was, but I know he'd find me. He'd come up through the Finger Bays, and eventually he'd find out where I was. Anyway, about an hour and a half's gone by. Phil's come crashing through the bushes behind me. He said, Doug, my nickname there was Douglas Lane, Dave Lane. He said, Doug, he said, give us a hand, I've got one on. And I thought, how can you have one on? You weren't even fishing, you know. I'm the one that's found the fish. You're supposed to be coming to find me so that I can show you where the fish are, and you go in next door and you've got one on. It was most confusing, but anyway, I just threw the rod on the ground and he'd gone by now. He said, I'm round on the railway bank. So I charged off, got round the railway bank, and he's in. It wasn't even a swim, just this little tight, sort of half a swim, this little gap in the bushes. And by the time I got back round there, he's still pulling and pulling. He said, I've had this fish on. He said, what happened? He said, I couldn't find you. He said, so I doubled back looking, and a fish jumped out. He said, right in the margins down there. So I chucked a bait on it and got a bite straight away. And he's hooked this fish and he's got him in the weed, and he can't do anything with it. So the long and the short, he said, do you mind getting the boat? I said, yeah, no problem, because I still had Richie's boat in the back of the motor. So I set off at a sprint from this railway swim round to the Douglas Lane car park to get the boat. Bear in mind that this day I've walked a circuit of the lake, which is about 3 hours, done another half a circuit of the lake, found fish, spent about an hour and a half thrashing the water to a foam, then ran another quarter of a circuit back with Phil, and now I'm running round to the Douglas Lane. So you can imagine, by the time I got there, I'm a bit knackered, I'm a sweaty mess, totally out of breath. Dragged the boat out, still got Richie's boat in the motor. Got the old electric pump out, plugged that in, doo-doo-doo. Anyway, it started pumping up. I'm leaning against there, waiting and waiting. It's quite slow, those electric pumps. Next thing I know, there's smoke coming out of this electric pump. It's making a horrible, tortured sort of squeal. Load of smoke came out, dead. Oh, shit. Not only is that somebody else's pump that I've just burnt out, how am I going to get the boat pumped up? Didn't have one of the duty pumps at the time because I relied on this electric thing. So I ended up having to do it by mouth, just like sort of top it off, get it hard enough that it would row by mouth, one of these big dinghies. It bloody near killed me. I'm there. Anyway, got enough in it. I thought that'll float. That's enough to get me and Sam across the lake back to Phil. 10 blokes turned up. I told him what's going on. He's grabbed the spare life jacket and ran back round to Phil. I've got in the boat with the dog. I mean, to say boat, it's more like a pancake, you know. A big, like sort of naan bread. That's what it reminded me of. It's all sort of half soggy and going up and down like this. Paddled my way across there. By now it's getting on in the day, you know. It's sort of, it's not dusk, but it's getting that way, you know. 5, 6, 7. I don't know. It's the evening anyway. So I've got over to Phil. He's still solid in the weed. I've got him in the boat as well. So the boat's like, you know, that. It's sinking in the middle and the front and the back coming up. We've gone out there. It's taken forever. This fish is proper round. Every time he's got it out, it was thick milfoil. Every time he's got it out of the milfoil, it started off again and goof, got into another bed of milfoil, and we sort of followed it round from weed bed to weed bed. Eventually it's come up, big dish-shaped mirror, whew, in the net, and we got it back on the land. By now it is nearly getting dark. It's dusk now. Banged him up on the scales, 37.5 pound. Great big, beautiful Wraysbury carp. Just such an opportunist capture, literally walking around trying to find me. Fish has jumped, plop, bang, he's got one. I'm just scratching my head. I'm thinking, Phil's making this look easy. You know, we're a few weeks in, and he's had 3 fish. He's had a 37, 38 or whatever it was, Mary's mate, and Mary at, you know, not far off 50 pounds. Yeah, he's making it look easy, and I'm making it look really, really hard. So I never did manage to catch a fish that session. In fact, I don't even think I managed to find the bottom in that swim. It was just absolutely solid weed. I can't remember where we ended up fishing, but I know I didn't end up catching. A couple of days later, I shot off home. I was going home less and less now, to the point where it felt quite strange. You know, I'm in this shared house. I've got because I arranged the house, I've got the best room, you know, the double room at the front. There was four of us lads sharing, all good mates, you know, all sharing this house. But I was just becoming a stranger now. But I'd gone home. I'd also got a message that Richie needed his boat back, which I really wasn't looking forward to, and rightly so, because he weren't very happy. A, the pump had burnt out. B, he was quite particular about his gear, and the boat was minging, absolutely minging. But you know, we suffered that. He got his boat back, so I needed a new boat. I decided I wanted to be, after the weed thing, I wanted to be afloat. I wanted to be able to be afloat, because the weed was growing all over the lake now. Like I say, it was crystal clear, beautiful water, a lot of sunlight gets through, and you know, the weed just, once it starts, it don't stop. There was big areas of Canadian pondweed, big areas, the railway lake especially was full of milfoil, which is very, very strong, tough weed. Not my favourite at all. I like fishing in amongst Canadian and eelgrass, but I really, really don't like milfoil. But more and more areas were getting covered in weed, and we were seeing fish, you know, cruising at range, and you couldn't just blast out a lead, especially as we were only using the small lead still, but you couldn't just cast out 100 odd yards into Wraysbury when it was that weedy and expect to be fishing, you know, when you were perfectly entitled to get in a boat, go out there, have a look, find a spot, drop your rig down, make sure it was clean, handful of bait. I thought I was missing out, you know, by this determination to fish from the bank. But now I didn't even have a boat. So I made a few calls, spoke to a few people, and managed to get hold of, I don't know what you'd call it really. It's a sort of a boat. It was a collapsible boat. It was a fold-up boat. It's apparently an army bit of kit. I can't imagine the army using them really, but apparently that's what it is. It was hilarious. It was this, I can't remember who I got it from even, but I remember when I went and picked it up, and they came out with this, it's like a massive suitcase, if you like, made of some sort of oil skin. So it would stand this high. It would be 3.5 foot long and this wide. So it's a block, if you like, this black block, and you'd unclip a clip on the side, and then it would open out like that, so it would come out flat, and then that's your boat inside. There was a polystyrene block in the middle, which was the seat, and that was covered in some sort of material. So now you've got this big open, just like a massive open suitcase. The rigidity, the strength in it, are aluminium poles that run around the top, and one round the bottom. And then there's a little cross member that clicks in that holds the whole lot together. So basically you've got an aluminium oblong covered in this oil skin, which was full of holes, where it's been dragged up and down. It was ancient, this thing, you know, absolutely ancient. And the only thing that would guarantee you stayed afloat was this lump of polystyrene in the middle, which you sat on. And it was totally square-ended. And I looked at it, I thought, well, it's better than nothing, you know. It's the only boat I've got. So I packed that up, chucked that in the motor, chucked all my gear in there. I hadn't been home very long. I'd been home just long enough to secure the boat, a few bits that I needed, bit of food, pay a couple of bills, whatever. Put off some work, jumped in the motor. I was back to Wraysbury. I had a brand new plan. I had a brand new sort of boat, and I was determined that I was going to catch my first Wraysbury carp. In the 2 days or whatever it was that I'd been away from the lake, Leisure Sport had decided to put some stockies in there. Over at Horton they had some fish holding tanks, and they had a few mirrors in there, and they had another tank with some slightly larger commons. Now 2 of these commons had jumped out of the tank onto the gravel and damaged their sides a little bit. So they joined 20 small mirrors that all went into Wraysbury during that little period that I wasn't there. The mirrors were about, I don't know, £2 or £3, I suppose. And the commons were around 15, these 2 commons, around £15. 20 of the mirrors, 2 of the commons, they'd gone in. We found that out when we got back. Within 24 hours, I suppose, I was walking about round the back, me and Phil. We got round to Sunnymeads, and we found one of these mirrors dead in the margins in Sunnymeads. But the weird thing was it was covered in fungus, but it's only been 24 hours. So they obviously went in with fungus on, which you've got to admit is a bit strange. Why would you stock a lake with fish that don't look too healthy? Anyway, we stood there discussing this, saying, what on earth's gone on? And another angler's come around the corner who I haven't mentioned yet, a guy we used to call King Harold. Not too sure why we called him King Harold. There must have been a reason. But he had, it must have been 4 Dobermans, at least 4. He used to take fishing with him all the time. They'd sleep in the bivvy and everything. How he got on, I don't know. You know, I had 1 dog, that was bad enough. But he's come round with these 4 Dobermans, and we pointed out the fish, and we're talking about it. And as we sort of pointed it out like that, one of the Dobermans has done no more than jump straight in the lake, grab this dead 2-pound carp, turn it round and eat it, basically, swallowed it. And we're like, oh, let's got rid of that then. And we did find over the next few days, a couple of weeks, we actually found a few more of these. I think we found 8 or 9 of them, you know, nearly half of them that we'd actually found dead. So we assumed they'd all perished. It wasn't the case, and if you know anything about Wraysbury nowadays, you've probably sort of heard of king fungus or the fungus mirrors. There was a small amount that survived and went on. You know, one of them went on to be something quite special, but that's, I say, totally different story. When Phil had got home after the prior session, unlike me who had to scout about to buy a new leaky old boat, as his luck was in, he'd opened his mail, and one of them was a letter from Leisure Sports with a £100 cheque. How does that work? Apparently he'd won Fish of the Month for Mary, and he got £100. Eh? Money goes to money, doesn't it? But Phil, being Phil, had cashed the cheque, chucked it into his bank account, and very kindly offered to take us all to the Perseverance pub, and he was paying. He was buying dinner. It was me and him, Tench bloke, who was all up for a freebie. I think Shaky Dell, a few of us anyway, all down the pub, down the Percy, big slap up steak dinner, lashings of ginger beer, and then tottering off across the football pitch. I think we'd all set up around Bryant's, like sort of Bryant's Bay, Bryant's Point, and the Douglas Lane, the closest swims to the pub, basically. So yeah, that was a blinding night. The next morning, obviously, sort of didn't start too early. But me and Phil had decided that we were going to walk about, we were going to find fish. They've been very, very hard to find, really. Like I said, you'd see the odd one cruising about. Jumpers, you know, I'd seen that one jump, Phil had seen one jump that he'd caught. But jumping fish were quite rare at this time at Wraysbury. You didn't see that many. The water had got a bit of a tinge as well this week, so that they were, you know, harder to spot through the water. Backs at range was the main thing that you spotted. So we went off for a wander anyway, a big wander, you know, the full circuit. Stashed our gear in the bushes somewhere and off we went. We'd gone round, we'd done all the do. We didn't find anything, but we went into the finger bays and thought this looks good. So we'd gone back, got our gear, and we decided we were going to set up in the finger bays. Now the finger bay section of Wraysbury is beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful. It's like a secret garden. You know, you're coming round off the railway bank through all these big woods. There's a section where you can't even see any lake. You come off the path and you're coming down this sort of windy bit through all these woods and stuff. And then you come through a gap in the trees, small, low-down gap in the trees, and bang, you're on the finger bays. You're on a peninsula running away from you, probably 180 yards long. On the right-hand side, you've got another bit of woods and it drops down, and behind that is the North Lake. You can see it through the trees. And on your left-hand side is the actual main finger bay. But the ground there is kept, it's just grass. It's all open, it's just grass. And the geese come in and keep it, so it's clean, you know, sort of short. So it's like it's been mown, just like someone's garden. It's got all the little white, whatever they're called, flowers. Not very good at flowers, the little white ones. Daisies, all daisies all over it. And there's a lot of hawthorn on there. So at the right time of the year, like this time of year, they're all flowering. So you get bright pink and bright white bushes all dotted across it. It really is gorgeous there. and you've got this small section of lake. You can just about see the dredger through the gap at the end, and it's just so peaceful in there. It's, apart from the plains, it's absolutely beautiful bit of real estate. And just as you go in, there's an old ruin of, I don't know what it would have been, some sort of stone hut. I suppose it was to do with the workings when they were digging it. But it's now all tumbled down, and so it's a wall about this high in a square, about 8 or 10 foot square, all full of weeds and stuff. And up against the edge of that wall, that was our fire site. We cleared a little bit there. We used the wall as the back for the fire to keep the heat in. Of course, all the woods were full of dead trees and stuff, so we'd drag loads and loads of trees out every time we fished around there, lay them against the wall and do big karate kicks on them, snap them all up, and build these amazing fires there. We built one so hot one day that it actually cracked this concrete wall. Bear in mind, it's about a foot thick, the wall of this ruin. And we used to cook spuds in there, wrap them in silver foil and cook them in the embers. I remember one day I even cooked a chicken. I'd seen this thing online where, online? We didn't even have online then, did we? On the telly, yeah? I'd seen this thing on the telly where you can cook a chicken in a biscuit tin. And I thought, well, that looks like a good idea. So I've got this whole biscuit tin. And basically, you wrap up a chicken with some herbs and butter and whatever, chuck it in a biscuit tin, then you seal up the biscuit tin, you dig a hole, you build a big fire, then you scrape the embers into the hole, you put the biscuit tin in the hole, you scrape another load of embers over the top, and then some earth, and then sort of move the fire on top of it, so it's underneath the fire in the earth. It takes forever to do, and probably, it's supposed to take about an hour to cook. So anyway, I've done this one day in the finger bays. Got this chicken in there, got it all set up, sat there having a few beers, probably a few too many beers, time's gone by. Eventually I've knocked the fire out of the way, dug up the chicken, got it out, scorching hot this biscuit tin, cut it all open, pulled it open, uncovered the chicken. It was just charcoal. It's just completely and utterly cremated. There was even holes in the biscuit tin where it had burnt through. It was a total and utter disaster. So if you're thinking of trying that, don't bother, it's crap. But the spuds work well. So anyway, we sat in the finger bays. We've had a fire, we've had beer, we've had spuds, we've had a lovely time. We're fishing side by side, neighbouring swims. It's all close in fishing in there. We caught nothing. Next morning, I got up bright and early. I like the finger bays, as I said. I don't like the lack of view. You feel a bit enclosed after a while. One day and one night's about all I can manage. But right behind, as I said, is the North Lake, and there's a swim on the end there, right behind where I was, that we called the Rocket Swim. One of the bailiffs was called Rocket Ron, and we saw him fishing in there one day. It became Rockets. So I've gone down into Rocket Swim with just a chair, a cup of tea, and a fag. And I'm sat there looking out over the North Lake. So I'm right up one end. I'm sort of up the Green Gate, the peninsula end, if you like, but separated by water. Sitting there looking out, got an island in front of me. Most of the North Lake's off up to my right. And there's a swim called the Diving Board on the other bank opposite me there. So I'm sat there looking out. And I've looked, and something's gone over in front of the diving board halfway to the island. Not badoo-doosh or anything, but a big old roll and some ripples coming out. And I've looked. That could have been a tench, but it looked quite heavy. Anyway, I sat there still looking out, and suddenly one's come up, proper one, mirror carp, come up like that, bosh, like whoa, instant. You go from 0 to 1,000,000 like that, and yeah, I know where they are. So back to the gear, packing up all the gear. I've got the boat thing with me. I've got the tub with me on the finger bays, because what I've done when we've set up the day before, I've actually rowed my gear across the gap. You could park the other side of the gap to the dredger bay, and it was about a 50-yard row across, and that's how I'd got the bulk of my gear across there. So I've got this, what became known as the sieve, with me. So put it all together again, put the little brace bars in, and it really is. I can't even begin to describe to you how much of a pile of shit this boat is. Put my gear in there, got Fat Sam in there, and started paddling across. I say paddling across, I do that motion as if I've got a paddle. I didn't have a paddle. It didn't come with a paddle. I had a plate and a frying pan, so more like that. That's what I had for oars. So I'm trying to paddle this sinking boat. I mean, it's filling up with water. It's never going to sink because of the polystyrene, but it's actually filling up with water. There's almost as much inside as outside. It's almost level. And I'm paddling with my frying pan and my plate, frying pan, plate, frying pan, plate. And I suppose it's about, I don't know, couple of hundred yards, something like that. And I've managed to get across into the diving board swim. Crashed the boat into the side. Sam's got out soaking. All my gear's come out soaking. I've lifted the boat out, tipped out all the water. But there's fish out there, you know. And while I'm doing all this, another one's gone over. I'm thinking, this is mega. I've seen I've seen 3 fish out there now. Halfway to the island's about, I don't know, 120 yards, something like 150 yards. So these fish are 60, 70 yards out, something like that. I haven't got a clue what's out there, but I know it's going to be weedy. So I've dug out a mask. I've got a diving mask. I think it was in the motor just there, so I've gone and got that. No snorkel, just this mask in the boat. And I took out a rod with a rig already done up and a little pan, little tiny pan full of hemp. So not much bait at all. I've got my frying pan and I've got my plate. It's a frying pan plate, got out there, put the mask on, and I'm sort of looking, triangulating myself, and I'm thinking, well, I've sat in rockets over there, and I see the fish towards there, and the second one I see was there, and sort of working out the distance and whereabouts. And when I was happy, I thought, it must be about here, you know, it must have been almost here where the fish were. So I've got to the end of the boat, leant over, stuck my head under with the mask, and whoa, they're there. You know, not only am I in the right spot, I'm right bang smack on top of them, and I can see them. It's probably, I don't know, it's deep there, maybe 17, 18 foot, something like that. It's that sort of, you know, proper deep. But the weed's halfway up, and as I put my head over, I can see them above the weed. Proper big mirror carp, you know, Wraysbury carp. Just swimming about, just gently cruising about down there. Big old black backs, big wide things. 4 or 5 of them or whatever have gone past me under the boat. I thought, oh my God, you know, this is it. This is my chance. But solid weed. I thought I need a spot. I definitely need a spot, but I need to make no disturbance. So I've just paddled 2 or 3 plate frying pans. And it's come, the spot's just come straight out a few yards from where the fish are. And it's sort of a bar, so it's come up above the level of the weed, and it's clear. There's a big spot, perfectly clear. Sand, little bits of stones, gravel, just happy days. So I've gone up there, got the rig, swung it down there, lowered it on the spot, a couple of handfuls of hemp out of the pan, and backed off as quietly as I could. Got back to the bank, that's 1 rod. I sat there and thought, well, what do I do? Do I risk another one or what? So eventually I thought, yeah, I've got to have them both out there. So I've gone further off to the left and done the same again, at exactly the same distance. I didn't see any carp a second time out, but exactly the same distance. I found another spot, so it obviously is just a bar running straight across the front of the swim. So I put that down, exactly the same. Come back, put the rods in, whistled Phil up, and that we didn't have the mobiles then, you know, giving him plenty of sign to know that something's going on. And I've seen him backing up and walk. He didn't have a boat, but he was walking off round. He was going to walk the long way around the North Lake, obviously coming down to join me. So by the time Phil's got round, it's a long walk, I've probably seen 3 or 4 more fish, like right where I'm fishing, and I am absolutely buzzing at this stage. I've got set up at the diving boards. It's different. It's been dug out now, but it was quite a high swim, high above the water, and it had this big jetty that went out, which is obviously why it's called the diving board, because the jetty was quite high off the water, and it looked like you had to run down the end and do a triple, what do you call it, a tuck and a pike and in. And your rods went down the bottom. So I've got everything set up, which don't take long when all you've got is a little brolly. Me and Sam sat round there, Phil's came round, and I said, mate, they are so here. It's just unbelievable. And with that, another one's come out. I said, mate, look, they're just... So he's gone the next but one along. There's a little half a driving he swim, and I think he went in the Giant's Footsteps, which is the next swim up to the left, which is, I know, is a strange name for a swim. I actually named it the Giant's Footsteps because on one clear day I stood in there and I could see these round gravel humps about 5-6 foot under the water, and they're staggered like that, and they look just like giants, but to me, you know, after a spicy fag they did anyway. They look like Giant's Footsteps, so I named it the Giant's Footsteps. When I was there a few months ago, I drove in and I stopped there for a look, and in fact I took a picture. There's still a big there's now a big wooden sign up there, Giant's Footsteps. In fact, so many of the swims that me and Phil named are still called the same names today. It's cool, I like it, it's great to have left your mark on somewhere like that. But anyway, Phil's gone in the Giant's Footsteps. I'm in the diving board. He's come down and spent the time with me because the fish are jumping in front of me. So that's the exciting swim to be in. So I'm fully expecting to get a bite any second, you know. But the day's rolled on, you know, the lunchtime's come and gone. It's got round to curry time or Chinese time. I think Phil drove up there and got the Chinese. Actually, no, Phil, he probably walked there. He used to love a walk. But on special occasions like this, we used to have a number 6. Now, a number 6 in the Chinese at Wraysbury was the all singing, all dancing. It was basically everything in a pot. I think it was called House Special Chow Mein, but it was number 6 on the list. It had chow mein and chop suey and beef, pork, chicken and prawn all mixed up in this big, it's probably just all the leftovers. And for good measure, they used to put a fried egg on top. How a fried egg goes with a Chinese, I have absolutely no idea, but that was a number 6. Used to weigh a ton. You know, a one-person meal of a number 6, you could beat a man to death with it, you know, if you should so wish. Used to weigh pounds, this thing. So we sat there in the evening and we had 2 number 6s and a few more beers. Fish are still showing, even in the dark. You know, you can hear them out there. I'm just like, half of me is just like just about to get a bite, and the other half of me is thinking, why haven't I had a bite? You know, I'm starting to fret now. I thought I could see my hook baits when I drop them. I know I'm on 2 perfectly clear spots. Why haven't I had a bite? There's fish topping all over me. Anyway, eventually, somehow, I went to sleep. Woke up in the morning, first thing I see was carp in the air. Boom! No bites. You know, you go down, you check your alarms are turned on, and you're just like, and then you're thinking, it can't be tangled. I watched it go down. So I got it in my head that I was fishing too well, you know. Maybe I was presented ridiculously well. Maybe they'd be better off just cast out there. As, you know, I started thinking, well, Phil's had 3 bites, and he ain't been out in a boat, and he hasn't put them on a clear gravel spot. Maybe I should just wind them in and chuck them out there. Anyway, this is running through my head. I'm pacing up and down the bank. The morning's going on. It's got to about 9:30 in the morning. I thought, I can't handle this anymore. You know, all my chances are going here. I'm going to bring them in and I'm going to chuck them out. You know, put big pop-ups off the lead or something. I'm going to do something, but I have to do something. I can't just sit here and then later on in the day watch them jumping somewhere else and they've gone. You know, it'd be criminal. So I've gone down there and I picked up the first rod, wound down, pulled it straight off the bar, donk, solid. It's come off the bar into this huge weed. I've seen the weed. I know there's tons out there. I'm pulling. It's probably taken me like 10 minutes just to get my lead back. I'm heaving and eventually this big load of weeds come up to the surface. I've got it into the edge, and I've hand-lined it in. It's like a big green mushroom, and I'm just down by the water's edge, ripping the weed off, trying to find my rig. And I've heard click, click from the other rod, because I've turned both the alarms off when I went to wind in. I've heard click, click, and I've looked, and the line's quite tight, and I've just seen the spool click twice, you know. I've looked and sort of, is it caught on this weed or whatever? And it's gone click, click again. It's just gone bzzz. It's away. I'm in. Tighten down, bang. I'm into a fish. Scream down to Phil. He's jumped up. I'm in. And he's come running up. Started playing this fish now. It'd taken me 15 minutes to get a 1.5 ounce lead in with no fish. So this was going to be, you know, it's going to be a mission. I've hooked this fish straight away. It's come off the bar, bang, in the weed, rock solid. So I said to Phil, there is no way we're going to get this fish in from the bank. You know, we've got to go out in the tub. And he's looked at me and like, are you sure? What, 2 of us in that? I'm like, yeah, okay. So he's got it in the water, and he's got, I've passed him the saucepan and the plate, and he's just like shaking his head now, you know. I've gone down, got in the front of the boat. Phil's got in behind me. We've left Fat Sam on the bank. That would have just been one too many. Got a net, bit of matting. Got in the boat, and I've towed us out to where the fish is. He's sort of steering as much as he can with the plate and the saucepan. I got out there, and I've managed to get him up and out the weed, this fish, and he's just done no more than charge across for about 5 yards and bosh, goes straight back in the weed. And this has gone on and on, in and out. At times Phil's hanging over the side, breaking the weed off the line for me, and it's pinging up and going to another weed bed. And it was a proper battle royal. Towards the end of it, I managed to get him to stay above the weed, so I'm in the sort of 5 foot void of clear water, and now we can see him. You know, he's twisting and turning. He's a big old dish, proper Wraysbury mirror. And he's come up, rolled on the top. Phil's gone out with the net, boff, he's gone in, and I'm just, I'm up there, you know. First Wraysbury carp, Wraysbury 1 mirror. It's just like, you know, after all the walking, all the looking, everything, you know, the being scared, the being daunted, the enormity of the place, and then I've got one in the net. It's such a good feeling. So anyway, we paddled, sunk, wobbled, managed to get our way back to the bank. Got him out, got him on the mat. I looked at him, I thought, I recognise you. It's the fish I was calling Malins. It's the one that my target fish, if you like. You know, unlike Horton, where I wanted to catch shoulders and it was the last fish I'd ever caught, I wanted to catch Malins. It's the first fish I've caught. As it turns out, it was also the 37 that Phil had caught. So it looked like Steve Alcott was very, very correct when he told us that Mary's gang, of which this was firmly one of the members, made up 90% of the captures over any 1 year. I didn't care. I'd caught Malins. I'd caught the fish that I'd been looking through that dog-eared old magazine at that picture of Dave Mallin. I'd been looking through that magazine in that Horton Lodge so many times. I just looked at that picture of the fish and just thought, I want to catch that. I would love to catch that. And there it is. It's in my net. Just an amazing moment. So sacked him up. I jumped in the motor, actually, and I drove to Horton. It is literally just around the corner. I drove to Horton because I knew there'd be people there that they just had to share this with me. I got Keith, CP, little Robbie. I think Reg might have come, I'm not sure. There was a herd of them. There was like this convoy came back, followed me back, and obviously Phil was there. And we took it into the little drive-in swim next door because it was a big open space. Laid out, we put 2 mats out for it, 2 of these little foam mats. And before I could get the fish out, I turned around and Fat Sam was curled up in the middle of them. That was a classic, that was. You know, as soon as you put a mat on the floor for a fish, she'd be on it. So we have actually got some photos of me and Sam with it. I'll see if I can find one, but if not, I've got a lovely photo of me sliding it back in. We weighed it in 36 and a half, I think, something like that. Yeah. Immaterial, you know. I can't remember the exact weight because it didn't matter a toss to me. It was Malins. It was a Wraysbury carp, You know, it was my first Wraysbury Carp. Oh, it was amazing. I think we had another number 6 that night as well, and loads more beer to celebrate. I was just over the moon. You know, I'd started. I was there. You know, I wasn't just Phil's photographer anymore. You know, he'd had to take the photos for me. So it was a lovely change, and God, what a day. So obviously I was like absolutely just so full of confidence. I thought I finally turned the corner. I can do no wrong. You know, Wraysbury's my friend now. Everything's going to go swimmingly, you know. How wrong could I possibly have been? We used to call it the Wraysbury payback. You know, something good happens, then you've got to suffer something bad. And oh my God, did I suffer some over the next week or two, probably only 2 weeks, maybe not even that long. I had the very next session, after that, on the way home from that session, I'd gone home a couple of days later, my car blew up. As I've said, they're all a procession of crap, my cars. The car had blown up on the motorway on the way home. Nearly home, about 10 miles from home on the M23. So somehow I'd got home, I can't remember, I'd got somebody to get me home. A couple of days later, I borrowed Keith's car. He had one of those, I think it was a Vauxhall Zafira. You know, they're like a what they call them? They're like a school run car. You know, it's like a slide inside door, whatever. Can't remember what they call them now. Vauxhall Zafira, I'm sure that's what he had. And I'd borrowed that, and I'd gone with a mate to tow my car back. So we'd gone there, we'd towed my car back, went no problem whatsoever. Got my car home, unhitched it, and I'd driven back to Keith's to give him his car back. Halfway between my house and Keith's house, somebody pulled across in front of me, went right across the road as I was overtaking them, and I smashed straight into the side of them and totaled most of Keith's car. So now I've got my car blown up, he's smashed to bits. I wasn't even insured for it. Tried to blag it, but anyway, things didn't end up good with that. Keith was all right, bless him. I repaired my own car. Back in the days I could do car repairs when cars were easy. I took the top end, it was a head gasket that had gone. So I took the top end off, got a couple of cornflake packets, and some of that squirty red stuff, made myself a new head gasket, bolted it all back together, and it worked-ish for a little bit. Keith's car, not so good really, insurance wouldn't pay out. Got back to the lake, I fished that week, and I had both my alarms nicked. I'd got some new Delkim alarms from somewhere. It's the only time I've ever had Delkims in my life, and I only had them for a very, very short period of time. Went for a walk round, came back to my swim, and my alarms had been nicked. A few days later, all my gear was nicked. The side window, I'd driven round to a different part of the lake, went down for a cup of tea with Phil, came back up, and someone had done the side window out of the motor and taken the lot. Well, it's actually, I say the lot, they hadn't taken the lot. They couldn't fit the lot out the window. They'd taken the rod bag, but the rod bag had all my rods, all my reels, and had my old 50-inch wave lock with homemade sides on it. I loved that thing, you know, in my little camp, my little brolly with homemade sides I'd sewn up myself and velcroed all on. They used to come on and off. Beautiful bit of kit. I'd had it all through. I'd had it for years, Pit Vauxhall, and you know, probably any photo that you've seen so far that's got a bivvy in it would have been that. I loved that thing, and that got nicked, and obviously the window was all smashed out the side of the motor. So yeah, Wraysbury payback. I certainly did suffer for catching that fish, but I was still determined. I went home. I did eventually manage to get insurance on my fishing tackle. I couldn't get insurance on Keith's motor. I don't know how we probably still owe him for that. So I had to have a week or so off, you know. When I got home, the lads had moved me out of the posh room at the front into the box room at the back, you know, saying, rightly so, you're never here, you don't even live here anymore. Work had gone to shit. I was self-employed architect, I'd booked anything in for weeks. I'd got a motor that barely worked. I'd got no fishing tackle. My life was going to shit, basically. All my own fault, obviously, because I was just obsessed with fishing. So I decided to take a week, 2 weeks, whatever, take a little break. Probably a week was the most I managed. Get my act back together, get my fishing gear back together, get myself a new bivvy. And I think I even decided to get myself a new car, proper treat. Although in those days, 50 to 100 quid was the most I'd ever spend on a motor. So I started car shopping as well. And I was determined before the 2 weeks was up, I was going to be completely kitted out and I was going to be back on the lake. So that's what happened. But that's what's going to happen in a couple of days' time when I sit up here again and tell you all about it. So for now, we're going to finish. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to do some Sunday duties. I'm going to cook Sunday dinner. I am going to see my family. And maybe if I can get away with it, I might sneak into the office and start editing this. So like I say, you may get it today. You may get it Monday morning. Who knows? I think that's about it. We'll have the obligatory book ad come up. You must know by now that the link is just below me, live link to the website where you can buy either copy of the book on the lockdown special. The buy a beer button, that's just been amazing. So thank you all so much for that. Been inundated, so I might actually go and drink half a dozen of them in the garden this afternoon. So once again, thanks for being there, and I will see you next time. Ta-da.